Yo, what's going on? This is Roscoe. I'm here in Orlando, Florida. You're listening to Pavlina's Kids Place. Keep it locked. I'll see you next time. Peace.
This is Pavlina from Pavlina's Kids Place. I'm on location at the House of Blues in Orlando, and I'm here with musician and super DJ Roscoe. Hello.
I'm a super DJ. Wow. I was just a DJ when I woke up. You just promoted me to super DJ, so thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. So how are you doing?
I'm really good, actually. I'm just at the end of my US tour, so I've been living on a bus for a few weeks, so I'm a little bit smelly and a little bit tired, but my set's very well practiced. Nice. So that's a good thing. I might stink a bit and look a bit disheveled and I've not had a shave, but at least the set's tight.
Yeah, definitely. That's all that matters. Definitely. Okay. So what is dubstep and how has it changed?
Wow. Dubstep really, to me, is kind of, when it came about in the mid-2000s, it was kind of a mixing part of everything that had gone before. There was kind of, a lot of it came from drum and bass, a lot of it came from the UK garage sound, and then it kind of really came from a sort of drum and bass reggae kind of area to start with, and then as it got more and more popular, kind of started taking more electro and house influences, and it's weird. I think as the crowds and the venues have got bigger, the sound itself has kind of got bigger to fit it. You know, dubstep kind of has a big sound to it, so it's just kind of, as we've been luckier and luckier enough to play in awesome big venues and stadiums and festivals and all the cool stuff we're really lucky to play at, I think it's just had to move to fill the venue.
Awesome, that's great. So how have you changed dubstep?
How have I changed dubstep?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Well, a few things really. I guess back in the day I was one of the first people to kind of make a really dance floor sort of sound. A lot of dubstep was very minimal, very chilled out, very kind of like head nodding in a dark room kind of stuff. And I used to get a lot of hate back in the day actually, because I would make like, you know, my stuff compared with a lot of the dubstep out there is like, you know, it's definitely not the hardest stuff out there, you know. There's a lot of dubstep that sounds just like crazy heavy metal right now, you know. But back in the day, mine was like the craziest thing there was, and I used to get a lot of heat for that. But yeah, I guess I kind of made it a bit more party and kind of put a bit more fun into it, you know. Like, I don't think I've ever made a serious track.
Oh, really?
No, everything I tried to make it fun and light-hearted and stuff, and I think dubstep was all a bit too serious. Too many boys.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was like, let's make it more vocals, more melodies, and more girls.
Awesome.
Woo!
That's great. So, starting out, like, you know, like, how did you build up on your electronic stuff? Because that always can cost a lot. So.
With my electronic equipment?
Yeah.
Wow, well, really, I started DJing after I'd released some of my tracks.
Oh, really?
So the first thing I really had was a computer, you know, with speakers and a little keyboard, and now I have loads of synthesizers. Really, these days, you just need a laptop, just flip in, you know, download $300-400 worth of software, and you know, people like Skrillex, people like that, don't even use anything other than a laptop. He makes all his tracks on a laptop, which I'm super jealous of, because I have to be in my studio, I have to have like my outboard synthesizer, I have a little mixing desk with faders on, like, I'm kind of old school. So, as envious as I am of the people who sit in the back of the tour bus and make like 6 tunes on a MacBook, I kind of have to have all my equipment and my bits and pieces. But really, it was releasing a few tunes on vinyl and having people buy them and DJs play them. That the first thing I really bought was the decks and a mixer.
Oh, really?
That was really my first. I was like, if I'm going to make a living out of this, and you know, if I'm going to continue to do this and make a living doing it, I'm going to have to get out there and start playing some shows, you know? I can't just sit in my bedroom for another 10 years making tunes on my own in the middle of the night, you know? I better get out in the middle of the night and play them to some people. So really my first investment was a way of being able to perform. And then just being a musical geek, that's why I buy all my little stupid keyboards and switches and all that kind of stuff, you know? It helps to be a geek when you're a producer.
It does.
It definitely does.
Yeah, it's awesome. Okay, so how are like the areas that you go to across the world, like different, knowing your music, like London compared to Florida?
London compared to Florida, it's the U.S. rave scene is different in general. in that it's more like when I'm touring in the States, I kind of feel a bit more like a band, you know? Like I kind of arrive during the day and the kids come and buy tickets to the show and they want to sing along to the tracks that they know and they kind of expect me to play a few more tracks they know, and it's kind of more like they come see a band. They buy a t-shirt and they come and sing the tracks that they know and that kind of thing. Whereas in Europe, especially in London, it's more kind of club-based. Whereas if you play the stuff that they know that they can sing along to, it's almost kind of a cop-out.
Yeah.
In London, you're expected to play an hour or an hour and a half of entirely new material.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Whereas if I came to some place like this and did it, you know, they definitely wouldn't go over. I get people, why didn't you play Hold On? Why didn't you play Cockney Thug? You know. So yeah, I get it in the neck even if I forget one. You know, even if I play like everything else and forget like Woo Boost or something, I still hear about it online.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, it's different. It's just a different vibe. But it's good because it keeps me on my toes.
Definitely.
It keeps me on my toes. When I went out to Asia, I played in Japan, and that was completely the opposite. You can't really play anything they don't know.
Really?
Yeah, and in between, if you stop the music in between the tracks, it's silence.
Oh yeah.
Because they're waiting for you to speak. They don't like clap or cheer and fill in the gaps. They just silently wait for you to see what happens next.
Clap afterwards.
And they clap afterwards. Yeah, it was freaky, but. As a DJ as well as a producer, it keeps me on my toes.
Yeah, that's really
I'm like, I'm going to England next week. In fact, this time next week I'll be in London, in England, and if I couldn't play the set I'm about to play tonight.
Yeah.
I'm gonna in a week's time I'm gonna have to completely change it up, and so yeah, it keeps me fresh.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
awesome though.
keeps me busy.
Yeah, it doesn't that way. So, like, kids have all kinds of obstacles growing up. What obstacle did you have, and how did you overcome or deal with it?
Obstacles growing up. When I was in high school, I actually had ME.
Okay.
Which I think there's a different American name for it. I had to take like about a year and a half off of school.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I couldn't. It's called chronic fatigue syndrome as well. So yeah, I had to take like a year and a half off school when I was like 14.
Oh, wow.
And like I had some of my bones deteriorate in my legs, and so yeah, it was really crazy. That was like, so from 14 or whatever, I never could kind of did any sport or could play any sport or anything like that. So, I mean, I guess it was an obstacle in my life generally, but it kind of afforded me a bunch of time at home, you know. That was the end of playing soccer or anything like that. I was just like, right, okay, I guess I'm at home with a piano and a guitar, and that's me, you know. So, yeah, it was tough, you know. It was really hard kind of finishing high school and taking all the time off, and I had to spend 2 days out of every week in the hospital getting tested and photographed and all sorts. It was crazy, but yeah, I guess it just kind of gave me a lot of time to work on my craft, as they say. Yeah. But yeah, I have... I got to know another few people who suffer with the disease, and they didn't even get to finish high school or anything. You know, I know people that are like bedridden with it. You know, so to say you know, after a couple of years I got better and everything started going good for me, then I'm very, very lucky.
That's good.
Yeah, a lot of people suffer from that. Yeah.
That's horrible, but okay. So like, is it like how
real? Keeping it real. Sorry.
So how important is it to have like a bass sound?
A bass sound. The bass sound for me is usually the first element of the track I'll create. I'll usually kind of play around and try and find some cool bass sounds before I even put some drums down.
Yeah.
I think most people kind of make a drum beat and make some kind of simple stuff and then try and jam over the top. I have to have the bass first.
Okay.
I guess for me, almost sort of the definition of a dubstep track really is if the bass is like the most important part of the track.
Yeah.
If the bass is the focus of the track, you know, as opposed to the vocal or the keyboard or whatever, you know, that's like, for me, a quintessential dubstep track.
That's great then, okay. So I know dubstep started like in London and everything, but a few months ago I talked with an awesome guy. He's from Tangerine Dream. His name is Edgar Froese. So like, were you ever influenced by
Tangerine Dream is in the old...
What is it?
Is in the older dude.
Yeah.
Tangerine Dream is in like the 70s.
Yeah, that's
synthesizer.
it.
Wow. Oh my days, that's some serious progressive synth business. Yeah.
Yes. So I was wondering if it was like, if you're were ever influenced by like the old school synthesizer.
Oh, absolutely.
Stuff,
Yeah, absolutely. I have like almost every single Vangelis record he ever made on my laptop. I have all the Jean-Michel Jarre. I even have a little movie, like an hour-long movie of Jean-Michel Jarre in France in his warehouse.
Oh, wow.
He has like a warehouse. Not a studio. He has a warehouse with just racks of every synthesizer ever made.
Wow.
Every piece. Because, yeah, as I said, I'm a geek. So yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And even really, I grew up kind of on stuff like Aphex Twin and Boards of Canada and Square Pusher and that kind of Warp Records sound, which is still a very kind of electronica and progressive synths as opposed to straight up dance music.
Yes.
You know, I wasn't just listening to, you know, house music and drum and bass. I was kind of more into the Aphex Twin sort of more experimental type of stuff, yeah. So I guess I've always been kind of, I guess that's the modern version of the Jean-Michel Jarres and Tangerine Dreams and stuff, you know. Square Pusher and Aphex are the new version of that. Although I guess they're not that new anymore, are they? You know, I'm getting on for 30 now, I'm showing my age.
Yes, okay. So, what do you like to do more, like playing as a musician or like playing instruments and everything, or DJing?
Oh, you know, when I first started out, it was a no-brainer. I was like, studio.
Yeah.
I used to play in bands. Like, I love to, you know, I'm a crazy piano guy. I love to sit down at the piano and play some chords and stuff. But now I can't live without DJing.
Really?
Yeah, I go crazy.
Wow.
I go crazy. It's really cool. So what I try and do is take, you know, you take maybe a month or 6 weeks off in between a tour to write a whole bunch of music, then go out on tour for a couple of months and not make any music at all, just tour, and then come home with like a head full of ideas and just go crazy and get it all down. But it used to work out really good, but now at the end of the month at home, I'm like, put me back on the road, put me back on the road. But then I just say, right now I'm at the end of a tour and I'm kind of like, I've got a ton of ideas. I wish I could just flip open my laptop and try out on the bus, but I'm going to have to wait till I get home. But it's cool. It's good. Yeah. Right now I'm kind of eager to get in the studio for a couple of weeks, but I'll get bored quickly. I want to be out on the road again. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so one of my friends, his name is Jack Rico, and we went to Grammy Camp together. Now it's part of the Grammy Foundation, and he was in the electronic music production career track.
Okay.
So he wanted to know what's in your DJ bag.
What's in my DJ bag? As in technically what's in my DJ bag, or like literally what is in my DJ bag right now?
You can go with either one.
I could go with either one. Usually in my DJ bag, the most essential thing, really for me, the first thing I put in is a t-shirt. Because I sweat like you have no idea. I mean, even just walking up the stairs, I sweat like a crazy man. So when I'm underneath like 1,000 lights, jumping up and down in a 100 room and going crazy like I sometimes tend to do, a fresh t-shirt to put on straight away is absolutely essential. Otherwise, you'll go all moldy and gross. That's kind of gross. But I switched to just straight CDs. I just use straight CDs for my DJ setup now. Yeah, I used to use a laptop and stuff, and I just couldn't take the risk. I was playing a huge show at Red Rocks in Colorado, which is a legendary place, as you know, a huge like arena. And halfway through the set, my laptop just crapped out. Like,
oh god!
Just trying to restart with 3,000-4,000 people going boo. I was like, that humiliation was so much. I was like, okay, that's it. I'm never gonna take the risk again. So yeah, it's cool. But it's almost kind of keeping me a bit fresher than when I was using a laptop, because I'm always burning new CDs, and I always put different stuff on, put different tracks on different ones, and switch them around every night. So. It's actually kind of, you know, sometimes when you open your laptop and you've got Serato, you know where everything is, you know exactly what works with what. So I kind of just sort of burn a load of random CDs and not write too much on them, and then kind of see how it goes when I get to the stage.
Nice. That seems like something I would do.
Winging it. Yeah, winging it.
Yeah, so what are your upcoming plans and events?
My upcoming plans, well, as you know, I just before I come out on this tour, I released an EP, which I was working on before I came out on the trip. So right now I've got a blank canvas actually, which is a really cool place to be in. You know, after doing a bunch of gigs, I've got nearly two whole months off at home. I'm going away for Christmas, a little log cabin, doing it all nice, having a little break, and then I've got a blank canvas. I have no idea. No idea. I'd like to work with some more rappers. I'd like to do some more kind of hip hop vibey stuff, but I'd also love to do like a more reggae kind of dub sort of. With like a whole release of that, you know, working with Jamaican singers or something. Maybe like kind of what Major Lazer did with Dance Hall, but with like proper reggae. Like real, like, you know, lovers rock, like nice, conscious reggae, no like gunman talk or any of that craziness. Like, so yeah, I'd quite like to do like a reggae record, but with fat Roscoe bass lines. That would be cool. But yeah, no, I'm just in a really fortunate position right now, you know. I don't really have any labels or management pressures to do anything, because I'm just a free agent, you know. So it's cool. It's a really cool place to be as a musician. I don't have any remixes. I don't, you know, I'm just like I just got to sit down with a blank page
That's awesome.
and see what comes out. It's rad, isn't it? That's kind of cool. I'm getting myself all excited to get back in the studio now. I try and put it out of my mind when I'm on the tour.
Oh, really?
You know, so I don't go too crazy wanting to make tunes all the time.
Yeah.
And you've just made me crazy for making tunes. Thanks. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, it's
I'm
awesome.
kidding. I'm kidding. You're good.
You're good. So, well, thank you so much for talking to me.
No probs. It's all good.
Yeah.
We got it all right.
Yes, we did.
Awesome. Awesome. Sorry for getting depressing in the middle, but it was real.